for the video podcast, The Loving Cup, Elevate Your Gratitude. Today is Friday, January 4th, 2019, and we're live from the Seneca Falls-based FingerLakes1.com studios. So welcome. So my guests today are mother and daughter, Mary Lou and Haley Lang from Seneca Falls. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you here. So let's start off by having each of you introduce the other. So Mary Lou, would you introduce us to Haley?
Sure. This is Haley. She just celebrated her 21st birthday. She is my oldest daughter, and she goes to University of Buffalo.
Wonderful. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And would you introduce us to your mom?
Yep. This is my mom, born and raised in Seneca Falls. She is a substance abuse counselor through the county, and she works with kids at the Waterloo School District.
That's great. So let's start by having each of you share with us something that you're most grateful for from the past year. And either of you can go first.
You want to go first? Or you
Go
want?
first.
Okay. I guess I would say the thing that I'm most grateful for is my family, my relationship with my immediate family, and also the relationship that I have with my husband and both my daughters. I feel very fortunate to have the type of relationship with them that I do.
So Haley is your oldest and you have another daughter?
I do. Hannah is 19.
Wonderful. Hopefully she's watching so she can get a shout out. How about for you, Haley, the past year?
Well, I was also going to say family, but since she said family, maybe I'll switch it up a little bit. But I guess what I'm most thankful for is the support that this community has. Obviously, you probably saw how my house got robbed and I had lost my necklace, and I had put it on Facebook hoping to maybe just get like a couple shares in the area of Buffalo, and it literally went viral, and the amount of people that like reached out and like just showed that they cared, like really opened my eyes that like of how many amazing people really are in the world, and for every bad person that there might be, there's like 1,000 good people to counterpart that.
That's beautiful. And did you get the necklace back?
Sadly I didn't, but I am wearing the replacement. My mom did get the exact necklace with the engraving, and then we just had to replace it with some more of my grandmother's ashes.
Oh, what a good mom.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that happened though, but what an amazing outpouring.
Yeah.
I saw that that just support on Facebook because I shared your post too, but just across the state, even beyond the state, right?
Yeah, it was people from like Texas were commenting like, I know that maybe down here it won't help, but maybe if I share it, then someone else will share it. And it was just crazy the amount of support that was out there during like a really difficult time.
That's an awesome thing to be grateful for. So how about your whole life? Is there something that comes out as something you're most grateful for your whole life?
I would say my mom. And my dad, just my upbringing. My mom passed away about 1.5 years ago from dementia, but in terms of being an amazing person, she was it. She just incredible, and the relationship that she shared with my children, just an amazing person. So being fortunate to grow up in the community that I did, with the family, with the parents and siblings that I did, especially working in the position that I do. A lot of the students that I work with or that I see, unfortunately, don't always have that same type of upbringing or the connection with their families or their parents that I was fortunate enough to have.
That's awesome. And tell me your mom's name.
My mom's name was Joan Capaldi, and just amazing, really. I know that people say that, but Haley can attest to it. She was an incredible person. Just fantastic.
Awesome. I just got a chill. How about for you, for your whole life, Haley?
Well, obviously, I would definitely say my parents, of course. Like my mom said, she sees, like, through her job, like, kids who don't even have really parental role, like have parents that play a huge part in their life. So like the endless support and the things that they have taught me like throughout my life is something that I couldn't be more thankful for. They support me in everything that I do. There's nothing that I can't talk to about either one of them. It's just been I always hope that when I have kids of my own one day that I'll be able to have a relationship with them that I've shared with like my parents growing up. But also specifically my sister. I have a couple friends who are just only child. And it's really crazy to me to think of ever being an only child because my sister is literally like my best friend. And I know everyone says that, but we really like do get along so well. And there's literally, so having a bad day, I can just call her up as much as I probably annoy her 99% of the time. At the end of the day, she just has the biggest heart, and I just love her to death.
That's awesome. It's got to make you feel good too, Mary Lou.
It really does. I feel very blessed to have the kids that I do. Not just because they're so driven, like Haley I gotta brag, Haley got a 3.7 something, and Hannah, her first semester at Albany, got a 3.8 something. So they're both very driven.
Awesome.
They always have been academically, but they're good kids too. Like, they have a good heart. They care about people. We just got really lucky. We got very blessed in
Beautiful.
that area. So
that's good. I can tell. So is there a memory that you both have of something you've done together that's just something you're so grateful for you'll never forget? Something just wild or fantastic or funny?
Well, I remember one time when, well, this isn't really funny, it's more of like a good thing, but I remember when I was younger, and my mom always talks about if she was rich, the one thing she would want to do is just give back to people that don't have anything. So I remember one year for Christmas we had the jar, and we would fill it with coins. So like any extra change that we have, because honestly, I don't think people realize like if you do save up your change, like how much you can actually save up. So, because usually I just like, I don't want the change, like, you don't want it in your purse, but we actually, any extra change that we had, we would put in a jar. And then my mom knew a family at her work, and after, when it got closer to Christmas, we cashed it all in and then did like an anonymous donation like for this family with like all the change that we had saved up.
Awesome. Way to go.
thanks.
That's super. How about for you?
Well, I gotta say, Haley's just got like quite the personality, and so it's always an adventure with her. We're just always laughing and joking about stuff. So, I mean, I don't know if there's anything necessarily specific that sticks out. We just, like I said, celebrated her 21st birthday, and she's so funny because she's like, Mom, I want you to make it really special, and I'm really over the top with things, and so we made a full day of it. And just, I think for me, just seeing her or Hannah or anybody that I love, being able to do something for them that brings joy. So like for Haley's birthday, it started out, she woke up in the morning and I had a shirt made for her that said, I had a 21 on it, and then it said it's my birthday, and she started the day off with that. And then I took her to breakfast, and from breakfast we went to the mall, and she picked out an outfit for her birthday. And then from the mall I took her and she got her nails and her feet done, and then we came home and her friend was there to do her hair and makeup, and it was all decorated. And then a lot of her friends came, and we rented a van and we drove them all up to the city, and we all went out together. And it was interesting because just seeing her be happy makes me happy. But we were waiting to get in the one club, and this woman said to me, obviously it was a club for young people, and I'm not young, and she kind of looked at me and she said something, and I said, yeah, it's my daughter's 21st birthday. And she said, my daughter, I can't imagine my daughter like ever wanting me to be with her on her 21st birthday. And it's funny because my husband and I both said to her, like, you don't got to hang out with us. And she's like, no, I want you to be there to celebrate with me. So again, just feeling really fortunate that
Super.
That a 21-year-old wants to hang out with their mom on their birthday.
And the city, you mean Manhattan?
No, Rochester. Yeah,
okay.
We went to Rochester.
Okay, I was going to say, that's a really long ride.
Yeah, no. We did that one year for her birthday, though.
No, I think Rochester is better. That's great. That's really great. So your actual birthday was last Friday?
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, happy birthday.
Thank you.
So how about, you mentioned the community. Can you talk about, so you've both lived here your whole life?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Is there something about Seneca Falls or Seneca County or the region that you're most grateful for?
I think just like it's funny because going to school, and if I bring my friends back here, they're like, what is this? Everyone says that we literally live in the middle of nowhere, and that the one girl came, she's like, it just smells like cows around here, like, are we in the country? I'm like, no, that's probably the dump, first of all. But no, like, it's just crazy the different lifestyle that you can see how I've grown up versus how my friends from school who grew up in the city have grown up. And it's just amazing to me that, you know, obviously there's always going to be problems, but when there is serious issues going on in this town, everyone comes together, like everyone. And that's like one of the things that I'm most grateful for. You know, sometimes in high school I kind of hated knowing everybody's name and everything, and that's kind of why I wanted to go to UB, to kind of get away from all that and to, you know, kind of start over, be my own person where everyone didn't know me. But then now being there and coming back, I'm so grateful for it because it really is such just a close-knit community, and really there's so many people that we can rely on and go to in times of need, and it's just, you don't see that everywhere you go, especially like my best friend, she lives in Rochester. Like, you don't have that in Rochester because it's so big.
Right.
Like, you're going to go into Walmart. We can never go into Walmart without seeing someone we know. And it's just another smile to pass and go through the day, you know. So
that's awesome.
I would agree with what she said, just the camaraderie of everybody within the community when they come together and they rally together when something happens to someone or you need to be there for somebody. But I think for me too, just being able, my husband is from Niagara Falls, and so his upbringing was very different than mine in the sense that, like, he was monitored a lot more as to where he was going. And I loved growing up here. I can remember my curfew to come home was my dad whistling or yelling from the door, and I could hear him and I would come home. You know, just being able to ride my bike through town and not have to worry about anything, and kickball games with my friends and stuff, kick the can, and just typical stuff like that, that I think people who grow up in cities and stuff probably aren't fortunate enough to be able to experience that and stuff. But I would probably never move from here. My husband would like to, you know, being that he's originally from the city, at some point would like to relocate, but I'd be happy if I stayed here forever. I really, you know, like the community. I mean, of course, like Haley said, sometimes it would be nice to go to Walmart and not have to run into everybody that you know.
Take a little longer,
just
right?
in and out. But on the flip side, like, it's nice to go into Walmart and run into one of my students too. You know what I mean? And be able to have a conversation or share a smile or something with someone too. So,
like, oh, she's a real person.
Yes.
She like shops for milk. That's great. So how about for your career and for where you are in college? Anything that pops out for gratitude around how you got to where you are with your career and how you got to UB?
So definitely thankful for the high school teachers that I had and the support that I had just in high school. You know, I had a lot of high school teachers that I can think of, Mrs. Crawford, just like people that were not just teachers for me, but were like an outlet for me that I could go to for advice and stuff like that, whether it was career advice, life advice, but, you know, that also helped me continue on my path. And just at UB has so many opportunities. It is such a big school, so like the opportunities really are endless there for joining clubs, meeting new people. I'll never forget when we went to orientation, and I was really taken back by the culture, because obviously in Seneca Falls we don't really have a wide variety of culture. And I remember just saying to my mom, like, wow, like, this is amazing. Like, so that's one of the things I'm very grateful for at UB. Like, I've been more exposed to very many different types of cultures. I've got to meet a lot of different people with a lot of different stories from amazing places that I wouldn't have gotten to experience if I had stayed here. So I think specifically just the culture differences and like the variety of people, like, very grateful for that.
Awesome. And you'll take that with you everywhere you go. So that's good.
I think for me, what I'm most grateful about is, if, with the exception of money, I have the perfect job. I really do. I think everybody would like to be a bazillionaire. But I love my job. I love the students that I work with. I just feel very blessed to be in the position that I am. I think, I think about my mom a lot, and she would always say that, a smile can change somebody's entire day. I can remember growing up and we would go shopping, and she was that person that everybody would talk to at the store, and it would drive me nuts as a teenager or as a kid. I'm like, Mom, why do you got to talk to everybody? And she would say, you don't know what somebody else is going through. Just like taking a few minutes out of your day to smile or talk to somebody, that might be the one thing that made the difference for them. And so I think that that's kind of what pushed me into the position that I'm in, because I think about that every time that I meet with a student who's struggling with something, and I think, how blessed am I that I am able to be in a position where I have a chance to talk to these kids and be there for them in some way that might be able to help them. I definitely get more from them than they get from me. I truly believe that.
And they probably don't even realize it.
And I tell them that all the time too. I let them know that too, that it's so important that they understand that they make a difference in my life too. Being able to do something for somebody else makes you feel so good about yourself.
Absolutely. No, that's great, and that's important work. So did you do other work before you started working with students?
So originally, before I had kids, I was a counselor in Penn Yan at the elementary school. And I was a prevention counselor there, and I worked with K through 5. When I decided to have kids, I decided that I could not effectively be a good parent and a good counselor because I got very attached to my students, and it took me a while to diffuse after I would leave, because especially at the lower grade levels, I was making a lot of hotline calls to CPS and seeing a lot of stuff that was just really heart-wrenching. And so I took some time off and had my kids and raised them, and then went back to work as an educator for the county for the past 15 years. And I floated from school to school, so all 4 different schools within the county.
So you know all of the kids in the county.
A lot of them, yeah. And then 3 years ago, my boss said to me, someone in our department was retiring who was a counselor in the Waterloo School District, and she said, I think you would be a good fit. And I said, I don't like teenagers. I don't work with teenagers. I work with middle school and I work with elementary. Like, teenagers aren't my thing. And she said, you're going to love it. You have to give it a try. And I said, okay, I'll try, but I want my old position back in December if I don't like it. So I started 3 years ago in September, connected with one student in the middle of October, and then I was hooked. The student was amazing, and I couldn't have imagined telling the student that I was going to be leaving in December, and I literally was hooked from there on out. And high schoolers are my favorite group of kids now. I absolutely love them, and people will be like, high schoolers? And I'm like, yes, high schoolers, they're awesome. So
I love that. And sometimes, we get taken down paths that we wouldn't necessarily choose for ourselves. But when we get to the other side, we can be grateful that that happened.
Absolutely.
So that's really awesome. And how did you meet your husband?
We met at college. Yep, we both went to SUNY Brockport, and I kind of stalked him a little bit, a lot. We joke around when I tell the story, I had just gotten out of a relationship that didn't work, and I was like, I'm just going to give myself some time and have some fun. And then I had always thought he was very attractive, and he was super friendly, and I would see him, and we had a mutual friend who kind of told him that I was interested in it. A few months afterwards, he asked me to marry him, and we'll be 25 years on the 15th of January.
Awesome.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's amazing, right?
It is amazing.
So you're going to have to throw her a party. She's going to need a manicure, pedicure. She's going to need her hair done.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go out to a club.
Yeah.
No, that's good. So let's see. We talked about lots of different things. How about, Mary Lou, did you consciously teach your girls about gratitude? Or is that...
I don't know if I consciously taught them about gratitude. I've always talked to them about the fact that they should be very grateful for the things that they have, and that not everyone is as fortunate. And I can remember taking Haley away we won, when the rec center first opened, we won a trip to Toronto. We put our name in and we won a trip, and we got to go watch a Scooby-Doo thing in Toronto.
Oh, cool.
And there were homeless people, and she was so distraught because she'd never experienced that before. And she literally couldn't, like, any kid would be like, woo, it's Scooby-Doo, and she could not get out of her head the images that she saw. And so we would talk to her about that stuff, you know, that unfortunately, yes, there are some people who are not as, you know, fortunate as you are and stuff. And that really that bothered you for a long time. I think it still does. And I think that Haley and Hannah, but I would say more so Haley, is very much the type of person that does for other people, and is always conscious of other people's feelings and not wanting to hurt anybody's feelings. And I think she kind of gets the same feeling that I do when she does something for somebody else. We're terrible at keeping secrets and giving gifts and stuff. We get so excited because we want to see the other person be excited about what we're doing for them and stuff. So
that sounds fun. So have you ever gotten to surprise your mom, or do you always break the surprise?
It's always broken.
No, not really.
Well,
this was a surprise.
Her bracelet that she's wearing, it's for my grandma. That was a surprise, but honestly, for the most part, mostly everything is
because you're
broken.
so excited.
Yeah, when Christmas comes home, I like walk in the door, right? I get home like probably like a week and a half before Christmas. My finals ended really early. I'm not even in the door for like 10 minutes. She goes, so you want to see your birthday gift?
I did.
Like that, and I'm like the same way. Like when I get something and I know that the person's like really gonna like it, I'm like, let me just show you. Like my best friend from home, she got a dog, which she's wanted a dog forever, and her mom finally caved and let her have one a year ago. So for Christmas this year, I'm like, okay, what does she love more than her dog Cooper? Nothing. She loves Cooper the most. So I made like this blanket for her with all pictures from when Cooper was a puppy until now.
Aww.
For her. And for like 3 weeks after it came in, I'm like, Jenna, please let me show you please let me show you your gift. She's like, Haley, it's not Christmas yet. I don't want to see my gift. I'm like, no, you need to see your gift. Like, I know you're going to love it. But she went in cave. She wouldn't let me show it to her.
It sounds really cute. So do you remember being taught gratitude or how gratitude came to be part of your life?
I do think a lot of it had to do with my mom's job and all the people that she talked to and taught throughout her career. Even my dad too, he's the athletic director in Clyde Savannah now, but before that he was a gym teacher at Minders forever, middle school gym teacher. So I think he kind of saw a lot of things too, and like my mom said, it really was a huge thing that we always were trying to remember how there's always people that have it worse, and we don't know how lucky we really do have it. Also, I think some of that came from my grandma too, how she literally never had a bad thing to say about anyone, and even if something crappy happened, she would always be like, well, there's this good thing about them, where we could be really upset and we could be going off, and she goes, but this good thing. So I think that connects to that we need to be grateful for everything that kind of happens in our life, because it can be a blessing, but sometimes even if it's not great, we should take that as a lesson. And that is a huge thing that I've definitely got from my grandma. So I feel like kind of maybe if my mom says she didn't consciously do it, I think that's always been just a huge part of our life that's always just been, kind of set in stone there, that we've always practiced it. So it's always played a huge role in our lives.
That's beautiful. I mean, your grandma sounds like she was just a very, constantly positive person, and always glass half full. And
can I just share a quick story
Absolutely.
with you? Because it's mine and Haley's favorite story.
Yeah,
she said glass half full,
I
so
would
it
love
made
to
me
hear.
think of this. So Haley and I both struggle with anxiety. Unfortunately, I think she got that from me, and we have a family history of it. And so even when she was younger, she would get anxious about things, and my mom would always say that her house was the no worries house. And she was at my mom's one day, and I'll let you tell it because I think it's just better coming from you.
Yes, I had been there one day, and she had been in the kitchen cooking for me, and my grandpa was outside and I was in the kitchen. and I had reached over the table to get something, and I had knocked over my glass of water, and like it poured all over the floor. So of course I'm like freaking out, and I'm like about to start crying because I'm like, Grandma, I'm so sorry, like I didn't mean to do it. And it's very funny because my grandpa is an amazing person too, but you could just tell the difference in like the way that they handle things. So I was scared for him to come in at first because I'm like, oh no, he's gonna be mad that I spilled. So my grandma's like, Healy, it's fine. Like, I tell you, like, it's not a no worries house. And she goes, I'll be right back. So she went back into the kitchen. She got her own glass of water. She pushed the table out of the way a little, and then she poured her water on the floor on top of mine and made it into a puddle so that we could jump in it in the kitchen. To show me that there really was nothing to worry about, that me dropping a glass of water is nothing compared to many things in the world, and that I need not to worry about it. So that's my favorite story to share about her. That's the one I always think of when people like bring her up, because how many people, when you spill your glass of water, would get another glass of water so you could jump in a puddle?
Yeah, have her take her socks off, and the two of them were jumping in the puddle together.
Fantastic.
So
no, that speaks to the kind of person that she was. That's amazing. Super fun. So I hope you make puddles someday in the kitchen.
Oh yes,
with your
definitely.
kids.
I'm gonna have to.
That's good. So the last thing I was going to ask you about is, can you think about a time when there was something in your life that you are grateful for now, but at the time you were not grateful?
You're gonna have to go first on that.
I know, I'm thinking about it.
It's kind of one of those like things happen for a reason kind of things.
I mean, I guess I could even say maybe just my school choice. So I never, actually UB was my last choice of school. And actually my first choice was Albany, where Hannah went. And I honestly didn't apply to a ton of schools. I only applied to 5, and they were all in New York State, all SUNY schools. And I never really wanted to like go that far away. I wanted to be like somewhat bigger. And I think honestly, when it came down to it, I just chose UB because it was like the best out of the options that I had. Albany, like I was so for Albany. It was my 100%. And then as it got closer, I was like nervous about how far Albany was away, which really it's not even that far. Like I have friends at school who they're from the city, so they're 7-8 hours away from home and don't see their families until they go home for holidays. But to me, because of how close I am with my family, that was super far for me. So I guess my picking a college, that wasn't something that I was very sure on, and I was very nervous, like, am I gonna like it? Especially because I feel like a lot of people, they're, one of my best friends from home, like, she knew what college she was gonna go to, like, before we even applied for colleges. So I think that was one of those things I was, like, kind of really, like, anxious about, just because, I wasn't really 100% for it, so I was nervous of how it could turn out. But now, like, I could not see myself anywhere else. Like, some of the professors, I know, like, everyone, it's a huge school, but you can make connections with professors, like, if you choose to. It's taught me so many lessons. I've seen so many things that I would have never seen in Seneca Falls, some good and some not good, but all of those things have, like, taught me lessons in life that I'll carry with me. So even though I wasn't sure at first if UB was my choice, and it was actually my last choice, I couldn't even imagine being anywhere else.
Awesome. Good. I'm glad that you're happy where you are.
And
How about for you?
I think for me it would just go back to the job thing, because I am a creature of habit and I hate change. Hate it. So when it was presented to me to try that position out, I was extremely resistant. It was not anything that I wanted to do, and that's why I had that little buffer saying that I could go back to my old position if I didn't like it, and then I just fell in love with it. So I'm glad that my boss pushed me to take that step, because I would have never even applied for the position had she not said anything to me.
Awesome.
So
good. Any burning thoughts? We're actually at the end of our time. It goes quick.
It does go very quick.
It does.
Well, I just want to say thank you for having us. My mom, even back when I worked at Generations with you, she was always like, "Oh, your boss's loving cup, like I love watching it, like all the time." So we've been very excited about this. So just thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you.
That's great. Yeah, I remember we met at Taste and Tunes now a couple years ago. So thank you to Haley and Mary Lou Lang for coming and being guests today. So I'm grateful for your words and the stories that you shared, and puddle jumping with your grandma. I'm going to remember that one. So we'll be back later this month with more guests. Until then, be well and share your gratitude. Have a great day.